What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the podcast. It's been a little bit since we've done one. I have a special guest on today, Greg Reitz. I wanted to bring him on because he's an absolute killer in real estate. I see, as a mortgage person, we work with a lot of different realtors, and a lot of different realtors have told us, hey, our business is down a little bit. They're struggling. And Greg has been able to pretty much keep on anywhere from 15 to 20 escrows on the board at any time, closing multiple deals per month still in this market. Yes, in this market, not a year ago, right now. And so I wanted to bring him on to give his take on what he's doing in this market and get started. So Greg, if you want to share a little bit about yourself, man, how you got into real estate, short little synopsis, and let's get into this.
Well, thank you for having me on. I'm an energetic agent. That's the number one thing, to making sure you have production week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out, right?
Right.
And I came into the market with Greg Reitz with the Reitz team. We have 3 people on our team. So it's a small run lean, run mean type of attitude with our team. And I started in the industry about 18 years ago, 2007. The market was crashing. There was foreclosures. They weren't lending money. It got really tight, right?
Right.
And I learned in that market how to produce, right? So that helped me into this market, which is actually a reasonably okay market right now. If you know how to work it, that's the key. Know how to work it and get to work, right? So been in it about 18 years. I built teams up to 7, and the smallest, just 2 of us, we and 1 admin. And right now we like it to run lean, run mean with 3 people. And it's running very efficiently and good. We do keep typically 15 to 20 transactions, escrows on the board waiting to close for the clients and get paid on. And even in this market, we're doing the same amount of volume that we were doing when the market was really buzzing.
That's something that's crazy to me. Is we talked about that a little bit yesterday on the phone, how your production really hasn't fallen very much, where I know as a lot of people, lender on our side too, lender and real estate have dropped quite a bit. So what would you give them? Like, what are the key things that you've been doing in the market to keep your production up, man? Like what?
So going back 2 years to where the market was hot, say in 2021, right? Before it started to change in mid 2022, we're going to have more production this year in 2023 than we did in 2021 and 2022.
Wow.
So we just got back to the basics. It's going back to the basics. First of all, I believe in having a full-time real estate coach. Do you have to do that to produce? It helps, but you don't have to do that. I use the Mike Ferry system for that. So he teaches us to call, to connect with the database, our past clients and our vendors quite a bit, ask for referrals, ask for business, right? And so he teaches us to call, the script, to know what to say. And when a client's saying no, we don't look at it like it's a no. It's a need for more information. And we had to be able to handle those objections, how to talk them through that, and why it's still a great time to buy and sell at this time. That's where the coaching, the scripting, and the practice daily comes in.
No, that's a great point, man. I was actually working with my ISA yesterday, talking with her about that, because she told me one of the agents had told her, I don't want to meet. I'll just send you guys a referral. And I said, Daryl, we're not getting a referral. She goes, what do you mean? He said he would send us one. I said, no. He was trying to get you off the phone because he didn't want to book the appointment with me, right? He was just trying to say something to get you off the phone. So finding those, the reason why they're saying no and then getting past that is huge in this market, right?
Yeah.
And so what does that look like, would you say? Like if we're scripting and somebody says, it's just not the right time to buy, right? We're not going to try to sell them into something. We're just going to give them the market facts of what's going to happen and why it is still a good time to buy, why they are going to get appreciation in the home, why they will be able to refinance their payment, right? So what does that look like for you?
So let's do a real life role play right now.
Okay.
You're going to be the buyer, and you're going to tell me whatever it is you want to tell me.
Okay.
I don't even have to know what it is.
Okay. Cool.
So Corbin, we showed you these properties, some nice properties. I like A and B. Which one did you like, and which one would you like to make an offer on?
I'm getting kind of cold feet, Greg. The market's been changing quite a bit. And my parents have been telling me that I shouldn't buy. Family's been telling me that I shouldn't buy. And I'm just a little bit worried about pulling the trigger on something.
Okay, tell me more about that. What's besides the parents and other people, because the people don't make the market, right?
Right.
We make the market in our own mind. So what is it what is it more exactly? Is it interest rates? Is it pricing? What is it that's keeping you hesitant?
Yeah, I'm worried about interest rates. They seem a little bit high, and I'm worried that the market's going to collapse and I'm going to lose all my value in my home, and I'm going to be stuck in this high payment.
Okay. And where do you think the interest rate should be?
Well, I'd like them to be 2 or 3% where they were.
We know that that's not real, right? That was like a one-time in a lifetime deal. But
Right.
So historically, right, rates are between 5 3/4 and 6 3/4. That's a historic fact for the last 100 years in the United States. I bought my first two homes, and the one I live in now, at 5.75 and 6.25, and I was happy to do it. So the 3%, 3.5%, that got us spoiled, but it wasn't reality, right? Mm-hmm. So knowing that that's not coming back, then we have to look at it. Okay, 5 1/4 to 6 3/4 is more normal, and we suspect that that'll likely come back within a year and a half or two. You see, so you're married to the home. You're not married to that interest rate, Corbin. Right? So you're not stuck, Mr. Buyer, on that interest rate. So you invest in the home now, and then you refinance it when the rates drop, right? And let me take it a little bit farther to help you through this. Let's see what the cost is of waiting. How does that sound? If it makes sense, then you probably want to make an offer, right? Okay. So you're buying the house now at $400,000, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that home is going to be the same price in a year and a half when you're ready?
Well, that's the part that I'm worried about. I'm worried that the market's going to come down a bit.
And what makes you think that?
Just my uncle told me that. My third cousin. Yeah.
So the homes have been going up actually between 0.5 point and 1% a month, which means a $400,000 home per month is going up an average of 0.75%. If we made it 1%, that would be $4,000 a month. So it's about $3,000 a month. Mm-hmm. So in a year, 3 times, that's 24, 36,000. So it's at least $30,000 of equity per year. At 1%, it would be 12,000 times, well, that'd be 48,000. So it's about 0.75 point. We're even taking it down closer to 0.5%. And you're looking at about a $30,000 increase in reality over the next year. Mm-hmm. So that home that's at 400 now, that you're wanting to hold off to wait for rates to drop, is going to be 30,000 more. And that $30,000 more that you're going to finance, even if you drop the rate to 5.5 from 6.5, is going to cost you about $322. You're going to save about $322, or about $4,200 a year. So put that over to the right. $4,200 you're gonna save, but you're not, because that cost of that $30,000 is going to cost you about $322 a month, right? And by buying now on the interest rate, you're going to save about the same amount of money, about $322. The cost of that $30,000 is going to be more than the $322, more like $375, right? So you actually lost money by waiting. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Now, there's another way you lose. You said you're renting, correct?
Yeah, I'm renting right now.
And you're paying about $2,000 a month for rent.
Yeah, I'm paying about $1,500 right now.
That's a great deal. So $1,500 times 12 is how much? $18,000.
Yeah, you're gonna make me do math right now, Greg.
So $18,000.
Don't do this to me, man.
So that's another $18,000 you lose just in 1 year. Uh-huh. So now you've lost about $50 a month on your payment.
Right.
Every month you got to pay for 30 years, right, until you refi. Mm-hmm. And you've lost another $18,000 on the rent. But how did you lose a third way? By waiting.
Because you couldn't refinance.
Well, that's part of it. But the equity. You just lost that $30,000 because you're hoping that the market's going to crash.
Right.
There's no market crash coming.
Right.
But I've been hearing that for 2 years. So at that point, you've lost all this money, which is closer to $100,000 total, by not buying now. Mm-hmm. So you can get into the home that you want now, even with that interest rate where it's at. And then when it drops in about 2 years, then you just refinance out of it, and you don't need any money out of pocket to do that.
What I love about what you do here, Greg, is you're showing them actual facts and using numbers to show them, like, this is not what you think it is. You think you're making a good decision by waiting, which is what a lot of people think, but they don't realize that they're shooting themselves in the foot, right? I have a client right now that's getting cold feet. He's in escrow. He's got a condo in contract. His payment with the HOA is $2,100. Is a little bit high, yeah, but even if he refinances down to 5.5, that payment's only going to go down to $1,900. It's not going to go down very much, right? And he's going to lose out on all the appreciation But sometimes these buyers just can't get out of their own way because they have this internal fear. And I think it's more fear driven than it is logic driven, because if you use your logic and look how things actually are, you can clearly see that it's a better investment to buy a home and stay in the home for a long period of time.
Yeah, that's right.
So now this kind of brings me into my next topic.
So let me share one more point on that.
Yeah, go for it.
So a couple more points. So you're married to the home, not the interest rate. Get into what you want now. Secure that. Save all that money from rent, right? Refinance out of it. Capture the equity, and then everybody's happy. Refinance out of it soon. But also, you're not waiting to do that. If the interest rates, when the interest rates drop down, there's some buyers that are on the fence right now, right? What do you think is going to happen when the rates go down into the fives?
Demand's going to go through the roof.
And you think you might have multiple offers again and have to pay more for the home?
Yep, absolutely.
For sure. That's coming. So if you're at $400,000 and you wait a year, now it's $430,000. And then you have multiple offer scenarios. Now you're $450,000. Oh, because I wanted to wait. Makes sense. Now let me say show more too. Me and you both bought investment properties recently, haven't we?
Absolutely.
At these high rate, at these higher rates than usual.
Right.
Right. So you're talking about two professionals here investing in property in this market. So we believe what we're preaching, and we know that it's true.
100%, man. Yeah. No, I love it. I love it. So getting into the next piece of this, actually, I kind of want to jump back down into what you're doing to succeed, but I think this is the perfect time to get into the market predictions too, of what you think is going to happen in 2024. I'll share my take on it. I personally think that the rates could come down a little bit. I don't think we're going to see that much movement. I just don't think that we're going to see that much movement in the interest rates. It could come down a bit. If they do come down, like you mentioned, the demand is going to fly through the absolute roof. And people forget. People, like you mentioned at lunch the other day, they have short memories, right? Remember when the rates were low and everybody was paying $50,000, $60,000 over asking price to get a home?
Yeah.
It may not be that crazy because the rates won't be at 2 or 3%, but people are going to be paying $15,000 to $20,000 over asking to get in a home. Right? It's just they have short memories, man. It's crazy that people literally forget only a year after, and the moment those rates come down, it's going to be huge. And we have a problem in this market. We have an inventory problem because people are sitting in a 2 to 3% rate. Why are they going to move? Why are they going to move from a 2 or 3% to an 8 or 9% or a 7%, whatever the rates are? There's no point for them to do that unless they have an extenuating circumstance. Maybe their family's grown, they're getting a divorce. There's a million things that people are doing to move in this market still. People are still buying homes and people are still moving. But we have the poisonous pill called COVID that came in and just made the real estate market completely different. So I think we have a few years' time before that even recovers. But give me your take on what you think is going to happen in 24.
Well, there's different buzzes going out there on what the feds are going to do with the interest rate when they meet in November, right?
Right.
Most of us feel, and the economists feel, they're going to hold. They're not going to drop. They're not going to raise it. They're going to hold where they're at in November, and then we'll see what happens next year. I think the rates may drop a little bit, but they may just hold solid for 6 months to a year, depending on the inflation, right? The inflation numbers. Because the inflation numbers are sticking between 3 and 4%. The feds want it down to 2, which is not really reality. So they'd really have to punish the market to get it down to 2. They'd have to bring these rates up to 9 and slow everything down even more just to get that inflation rate down to 2%. So that's not, they realize they're not going to be able to do that.
Right.
So the 3 to 4%, they may have to be okay with that and keep the rates where they are and then watch the economy. I believe that we're going to have a little bit less interest rate coming in the first quarter of next year, maybe the second quarter, and get things moving slow at a faster pace moving forward in the real estate industry, which is what we're in. I think the prices are going to hold steady, kind of balance out right now. I think we're going to have some stagflation.
Right.
Everything's going to stay kind of stagnant on pricing. So the good news is the buyers that were, which is many of them, getting into a contract now on homes, we're able to get the closing costs paid. We're able to sometimes get a buy down on the interest rate for the first 2 years. If the interest rate was 7%, get them down to 5% for the first year and 6% the second year. And then we know the rates are going to be down, so then they can refinance. And that's a perfect scenario, that 2-to-1 buy down for them, right? So we're able to get that, get some closing costs, and kind of name their price. So there's some good opportunities for these buyers right now.
Right. Right. I know. I agree with that 100%. I have multiple clients that are getting anywhere from $10,000 to $20,000 in closing cost, and they're getting a down payment assistance product. Some of them are coming in with their own down, but they're paying no closing cost. And what does that do? That makes it so the moment they move into that home, they're getting a cash on cash return into that investment right away, because the money that they put into the home is equity in the home. So they don't have to recapture the closing cost that they paid for the home, and they're getting the appreciation and everything else. So I think we have very similar ideas of what's going to happen in the 2024 market. I know there's a lot of people out there saying rates are going to come down to 5%. I don't see that happening. Do you see that happening? Do you see rates coming down way low to 5% or 4.5%?
I don't see that happening anywhere in the near future within years, right?
Right.
I do think that within about a year and a half, maybe two, we're going to be down in the high fives.
Okay.
5.5% to 6%, maybe the next year and a half.
Dude, 5.5% to 6%, that's where we need to be. I don't even want it to go 2 to 3% again. Do you want it to go that low again? That was just too crazy.
No, well, it's not reality. Crazy. And then what it is it spoiled the nation, right? The buyers and sellers thinking that that's normal, but it's not normal.
Right.
Know? And they did that because of COVID. So that's over now. So it's got to be back to reality.
I agree. I agree. So kind of bouncing back to this, and we can get it wrapped up pretty shortly after that. I know you mentioned some things that you're doing to succeed in this market. One of is going back to the basics. So what do those basics look like?
So that's a great question. It's, first of all, having a goal. So what I do and what the team does, all three of us, is we write down our yearly goal. Where do we want to be? How many closed transactions do each one of us want on the team? How much is that gross income that we want to make? How many clients do we want to serve, right? And we know that there's hours of work involved and training involved and practice and scripting and everything else. So before we answer that, we think that all the way through. So it's a real number, knowing that the homework that's going to be involved, the practice, the hours involved, showing property, listing property, marketing, and doing those other things. So we make that goal. So we said, okay, and I'm willing to work, 11-hour days, 5 days a week, and 8 hours on Saturday, right? We put our hours down. How many hours are we going to work a week? Mm-hmm. How many? And when we have our yearly schedule, my whole calendar's, I already know my vacations and my days off and my 3-day weekends for 2024. It's already down. So that year is already set. And I know how many hours and how many days in that year in 2024 I'm going to work. Mm-hmm. So having that schedule, knowing when you're on and when you're off, and the hours that you're going to work is important. That way you can set your schedule based on that, right? Mm-hmm. So then the second thing we do is, okay, and this is all in our yearly goals, when we set them. The second thing is daily schedule. Time starts at 5 a.m. What do you do? Okay, get up. Okay, do this, do that. Get to the gym at 6:30. Get to the office by 8 o'clock, 8:30, whatever that schedule looks like. Let's just take my schedule. Get up at 5:30, get prepared, hit the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday by 6:15, into the office by 8:15. Mm-hmm. 8:15 to 8:30, get prepared for the day. 8:30, get on the phones. Mm-hmm. So when I'm getting on the phones, I'm making those phone calls. Leads coming in, calling sellers, buyers, for sell by owners, expired listings, my database, past clients, they're all part of that. Leads, online leads that we're receiving, and then a lot of follow-up calls. And all of that takes about 2.5 hours every morning. And
that's, I think, where the magic happens right there. You just mentioned it, right? The morning routine is one thing, but the prospecting, you are in the trenches actually making calls. Surprise, you have to actually make calls to do good in this market, right? Yep, 2021, people woke up, especially lenders. I really feel like lenders were the worst at this because they were just getting refinances from everybody, right? Cousins, friends, family. They were getting referrals from everywhere. So it was very easy. Lenders didn't do very much in 2021 and 2020 to go out and get business. Come 2022, things start changing. People start going, oh shit, I'm not getting the referrals. So what your success, what it tells me is if you really are determined enough and you really make the decision to take the action and make your calls, do the things that you need to do, you will succeed. And I want to end this statement here. It's very simple math at the end of the day, right? Let's say that if you make 20 contacts, you get 2 contracts. 20 contacts, 2 contracts. So now we can take the math and go, okay, which is not exact, but if I make 40 contacts, then I should have 4 contracts. If I make 60, 6. So it keeps going up, right? It's very simple, but people don't want to do that actual work. So if you want to succeed, you got to do the work.
So that's right. And so to finish up on that daily schedule, right, I'm making an average about 20 to 25 calls a day, right in there. It varies. And what I'm after is at least 7 voice-to-voice calls. It could be as high as 12, 15, but 7 minimum. Quality contacts. So when I say quality, when I'm on the phone, somebody picks up on that other side, whether it's a past client, it's one certain way I speak to them, right? Bringing value on the market. If it's an online lead or a follow-up, it's another conversation. If it's a cold call to a seller for sell by on or expired listing, cancel listing or something, that's a different conversation. But when they pick up the phone, I'm not trying to go through 100 phone calls. You'll see somebody just going, I made 50 calls today. How many appointments you said, bro? Oh, none. Okay. So I'll make 15 to 25 calls, 20, 25, and I will sell 1 to 2 appointments every day. Every day. I made calls yesterday. I only got 4 people on the phone. I sell 1 appointment. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm going right now after this. So you make those calls, it's going to happen. It's the energy out. You know, there's a saying that says, time changes everything. No. We change everything. We have to do it. It's up to us.
That's a good clip right there.
So I do the calls. About 11 o'clock, I'm done. And I don't let my phone interrupt me during that time. So call, text, email back till about 12. Take my quick lunch, and then set up my appointment packages for the afternoon. And sometimes I have to go in the morning. I try not to do appointments in the morning like I am today after this podcast because I want to make my calls. So I'll have to make my calls later today. But it's the only time that the buyers were available today, so I had to accommodate them.
Man, this has been an awesome podcast.
Well, let me hold on. Let me finish what makes me successful. Okay, so that's part of it right there, right? Right. So I want to help these agents out there succeed, and this is real true stuff. Full-time coaching, follow get your yearly goals down. I can help you that if you give me a call. I'll help you. Put that together, your daily schedule, and coach you in that direction. No cost. I just want to help agents be successful and make it better for the marketplace, right? And then after the appointments, at the end of the day, I get home. It's not done. I lay out my clothes for the next morning. It's already out, so I know what I'm wearing. So when I get up, my head's clear. Boom, boom, boom. Everything's systemized. Works a lot more efficiently. Try to keep the office efficient. Keep your schedule organized. It makes it a lot better.
No, man. And one thing that I really appreciate about you is you're always reading a book. You're always doing something to improve your mindset, right? We're both Christians, so I feel like that has a big effect on how we handle business, how we feel, right? I feel like since I've gotten more into my Christian faith, it's helped me stay even more focused, because I'm not even focused on the outcome as much. I'm just focused on the daily process of the things that we're doing every single day, and the outcome is like, okay, cool. Whatever happens. It's in God's hands. But I feel like that we have that in common. So I just appreciate the constant positivity that you have and the mindset that you bring to the table, because it's hard to find right now. And dude, I just feel like this podcast was absolutely jam-packed with value. I like how we had it super focused. We spoke purely about the things that truly matter and what is going to move the needle forward, because there's a lot of people chasing the shiny objects right now. And you're the true testament of what you have to do to succeed in this market.
The shiny objects are, they're just that. They're shiny. And they don't work very well. So I've been there and tried that too. So here's what I want to say to the buyers out there and the sellers. It's still a great time to sell and buy. And sellers, you can get top price right now, right? They're still getting a good price. And if you're downsizing, investing, or moving out of the area, those are all good reasons to sell, right?
Right.
Buyers, everything we talked about already. Don't lose the equity. Don't pay out this rent, lose all that money. And not multiple offers, and you can name your price more. So that's a great time to buy. When it drops, it's going to go up. But also, at the end of the day, you want to move forward, buy, sell, or invest in a market like this, because you're going to have a better opportunity than when things drop down, right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, where can they find you at, Greg?
Well, my number's it's Greg Reitz at Greg Reitz Fresno gmail.com, right? And you can find us on our website, Reitz Team Fresno Madera, Reitz Team Fresno Madera. And my number is 559-260-1777, 559-260-1lucky777.
Awesome. Dude, thank you so much for coming on and the value that you provided today. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on the next one.